Hey guys, Pops here. Time for a little update. Uh, Things are actually going pretty good. Been busy with school, and of course now with this stupid, crazy ass coronavirus bullshit. People are getting stupid as holy shit, man. It's just stupid. But anyway, enough of that. As far as the update is concerned, I'm holding right now below 200. I've been bouncing typically between 194 and 197. Although Saturday morning, I woke up and hit 199, and well, after legs, I was hungry as fuck. So we went and got, what do you call, In-N-Out burgers. Got a double cheese, some fries. I got a shake too. Yeah. Diet wasn't so super clean, but gotta have some fun in there every once in a while. Quite frankly, like I said, it was after leg day. I needed all that food and needed some carbs too. Feeling a little low on the glucose, glycogen stores. So, yeah, it's all good. This morning, weighed in again at 197. So, yeah, it's holding real solid and steady right in that area. So, it's all good. Body's looking nice. The caliper numbers keep getting smaller. And if we're gonna go by the caliper numbers, it's saying that I'm down in around 10 to 12% body fat. I just don't think that I'm that close yet. I am still seeing way too much body fat, but I guess I could be, because really the only places that I'm still holding it is right around little bits in the middle, a little bit around the belly, because the obliques are actually getting pretty leaned out. I'm even noticing the bakeries in the back getting leaner too. It's all continually going down. I just don't know. I guess somebody was telling me a while back that the one of the nutrition stores around here, they actually will do. Got some shit on my glasses. What the fuck? Anyway, yeah, I guess they have the DEXA scan or something over there, and they can do that. And so I thought that I might go over there and see what that says, and just compare it to the other two weight measurement systems that I'm using now, the digital scale and the calipers. And I guess maybe take an average of all three or something. I don't know, because the digital scale is still saying I'm at 19%, and I don't think that that's totally accurate either, because it's been saying I've been at 19% for a long time, and it kind of bounces between 19 and 20, so I don't know. That seems to be about a lot more inaccurate than the calipers, even though I don't believe that I'm down to around 10%. I personally think that I'm closer to maybe 15% right now. But we're still mid-March, which means that I got still plenty of time to get down to the digits that I need to be, down into the single digits. But that being said, I still want to be working hard on getting into that single digit area while I'm going through more of the cutting phase starting in April. So who knows? Again, it's a big adventure, and it's been a lot of fun. The diet has stayed obviously fairly low. A couple of days I've been down. Man, there's been a couple of days where I barely cracked 1,000 calories for the day. And by barely, I'm talking I maybe hit 12 to 1,500, maybe a couple of days in there, I didn't even count. I didn't even want to know. It was just one where, in the mind, since I have done so much counting of the calories, showed you the spreadsheet that I did and all, and I have a pretty good idea of what my calorie count is, what my protein intake is within those calories, and I've gone back to not counting everything real tight on a couple of days, where I just am taking some block chunks of food based on their calorie and protein content, knowing, okay, well, this is going to be 333 calories, this is going to be 413 calories. Well, right there I'm getting up into 700. I'm shy of 750 somewhere. That being said, there's two basic items, and I'm thinking ultimately some cottage cheese. There's like maybe 2.5 cups or a cup and a half, I think that would be at 333 calories, and the 413 would be a quart of milk. So there you go. We're looking at 743 calories, 46 calories rather. So by doing that, knowing those couple things, protein shake, how much that ends up being, because a protein shake, the way I make them, is 90 grams of protein, and it's right at about 410 calories or something like that. I forget exactly, but it's right in that just over 400 calorie range. So yeah, I hit it hard a couple times, way low on the calorie intake, and trying to keep it almost pure protein, hardly any fats or anything else. And a couple of those days I didn't even do a broccoli salad to help fill the belly. I was just going at it. So yeah, but hitting it back up on those carbs on the on days, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Like I said, Friday had I started the day off first thing in the morning with a half can of baked beans, basically 3 servings of baked beans at 150 calories per, plus another 7 grams of protein and so on. So yeah, I got a pretty decent little breakfast right there, and of course the In-N-Out for dinner, and I had a protein shake and a couple quarts of milk along the way. And yeah, by the time I was done at the end of the day, I was probably close to around 3,000 calories. So yeah, I was a little over maintenance, and I try not to go too far over maintenance to keep the fat burning going a little bit more. But yeah, I was hungry. I'd had a healthy leg day. I'd been hitting it hard, and on Thursday those calories didn't get much over 1,500, and the glucose stores I was feeling a little low and weak. In fact, this is one of the things that I started realizing in respect to the food intake, and that is that based on old school science and how I was doing things before, I used to do my heavier carb intake just before my workouts. But then it started to occur to me a lot of times I would still feel this meal in the belly, which ultimately I started realizing, well, if it's still in the belly, it's not digested well enough. And in the past, when I was powerlifting, I was also working, so I was eating food all day long, so I was getting carbs, and I'd even start the day off with a bunch of carbs. So I wasn't thinking about that in relationship to the pre-workout meal and having those carbs in the body. So what I've been doing now is like I did Friday, and I've been doing it for a few weeks now, and it seems to be making a big difference, and that is getting those carbs first thing in the morning. And a lot of times, I don't do a lot of oatmeal, but sometimes I do. I like oatmeal a bit, but I'm not a major fan of it. It's kind of pasty to me, and I don't like to add a lot of other stuff. I'll throw a little butter in there, but I don't want to have any sugar, and I like my oatmeal sweet. I'm trying to stay away from sugars right now. So, although in the I have to admit though, in my baked beans, I'm getting a lot of sugar anyway. So at this point, it's kind of 6 of one, half a dozen of the other, I guess. But yeah, by getting that carb in, the starchy carbs earlier in the day, I am noticing much better performance in the gym, because the glucose and glycogen storage have already started to build, because I've had the food in me long enough to where it's fully digested for the most part, and is at that point really as bioavailable as it can possibly be. And the little twist to all of this now is I'm actually taking in more protein right before my the so-called pre-workout meal. And it's not really a pre-workout meal, because I'm not going to be using it, obviously, as we're discussing, for my fuel. And so, that being said, what is happening though is if I take that protein in, a good sized protein meal, 2 to maybe even 3 hours prior, and then with that time plus the time in the gym, that meal is going to be really well absorbed. It's going to be completely broken down, and now it's going to be ready for the muscles to absorb it. Well, the best part of that is then, as opposed to even doing a post-workout shake, this becomes the protein that the body's going to chew on, especially in that early post-workout time when I go to spike the insulin by taking in a bunch of sugars. And for those of you that have been paying attention and listening, I usually take in 6 huge heaping tablespoons of honey. That's how I spike the insulin. I think it's probably one of the better ways to do. I know a lot of people do some different ways. I only do it 3 times a week, so I don't believe that there's going to be any real issue with creating any diabetes along the way. So yeah, it works real well, and I have noticed some differences by doing this. I'm noticing maybe a little bit more growth. I'm holding on to some muscle, and I'm in the midst of cutting, and I'm still pretty big. I'm starting to lean out, but the arms are at 18.5. I've been focusing on the legs some, and I'm starting to notice a little bit of difference in the legs. And yeah, things are working pretty good. So take this as a little tip, that getting that starchy carb early in the morning, and maybe a couple of meals throughout the early part of the day being starchy carbs. You can throw in some protein in there too, but getting that starchy carb early on, if you're gonna be cycling your carbs, such as I am, to start cutting, this seems to be a method that, as opposed to the old way that I used to do things and used to recommend, based on the new science and new life experience, this is a far better way to do it, guys. So that being said, Thor and I are at the beginning of the trail, and we're going to take a hike. So we're going to get a little cardio, but in a nice leisurely way. Talk to you later, guys. Did you say take a hike? What a dick.